Kia ora, welcome to this episode of the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, author, Austenite life coach. My lovely co-host is Rachel Pilwa, book buyer, Austenite, and all-round nerd.
Hi!
Today we're discussing the ITV TV movie of Emma, which was 1996, the same year as the movie version of Emma. The difference being that this one is shorter and has Kate Beckinsale.
Woo!
To be fair, that's how most people differentiate.
The film Emma, I say Gwyneth Paltrow Emma. Then when we were watching this one, I've been calling it Kate Beckinsale Emma.
The cast
is stunning.
Kate Beckinsale, amazing. And later, she plays Lady Susan in Love and Friendship. Mrs. Weston was Mariah Bertram in a 1980s Mansfield Park. Mrs. Hurst, probably the most obvious, was, Mrs. Elton.
Mrs. Elton played Mrs. Hurst.
And the Pride and Prejudice from 95. Weirdly, she sounds American.
I have a whole thing to talk about with her when we get to it.
And one that was pointed out to me on this watch was that Miss Bates is played by the actress who played Sybil Fawlty in Fawlty Towers.
I didn't catch that at all.
I'd never noticed it before.
But my favourite character of the film was Mark Strong as Mr. Knightley. I love Mark Strong in everything I've ever seen him in. I didn't know up until we were looking at adaptations that he was in this version. And, first, he had hair, and that was wild.
So had you not seen this version before?
I'd never seen this version before. I knew it was around, but I only knew Kate Beckinsale was in it. I didn't know anybody else.
Okay, so thoughts on first watch?
I quite enjoyed it. The opening really jarred me, though, because it opens with some guy stealing chickens. And I went, what the hell is going on? And thought I had clicked on the wrong movie.
It ends with the same thing, though.
It ends with the same thing. They do bring it full circle. And the whole reason they do it is just to have the one line when they're trying to convince Mr. Woodhouse.
Oh, that is fantastic.
It's great when they tell Mr. Woodhouse that they're engaged. And he's like, oh, but we can't. And Emma's like, well, I heard that the chicken thieves are still out. Wouldn't you feel safer if Mr. Knightley was here to prevent them? The manipulation, phenomenal. But they've bookended this film with chicken thieves at that moment.
So Mr. Knightley at this point looks at her like, what the hell are you on?
What the hell is going on?
And then she mentions, obviously we need Mr. Knightley to take care of us. I snorted.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I thought that their age gap seemed more accurate than... I know when we discussed the 2020 version of Emma, that we felt like Johnny Flynn was too young, despite the fact that actually he was the right age to play Knightley when it was filmed. And the age gap is larger between Johnny Flynn and Anya Taylor-Joy than it is between Mark Strong and Kate Beckinsale. There's 10 years between them. And she would have been 21 and he would have been 31 when they filmed
So
this.
Is it just that Mark Strong looks old?
I think he just looks older. I'm sorry to say, I think it's the receding hairline. But I also think he has such a stern air about him. He plays that stern character so well that he feels older.
The Johnny Flynn was a bit whimsical that made him seem younger. This one was adapted by Andrew Davies, who's well known for doing the sexy. Where was the sexy in this one?
I found their chemistry was really good, but there were no scenes that kind of felt like their body language wasn't flirty, really. Like, their dialogue, fantastic. But none of the dance scenes kind of gave that, like, oh my God, they're touching hands. The proposal at the end is very intense. And that kiss is good, but I feel like it could have been more.
I think the any kind of sexy was between Frank and Jane, and that was just looking. Andrew Davies likes to put some nudity in, and no.
But in saying that, we criticised the nudity in the 2020 Emma. Because we're like, why? Why did we need this? But despite that, I quite enjoyed watching them together. Emma and Knightley, I think they were a really good portrayal.
Immediately in the first scene, you see Emma flirting with him. And when she says, we're not so much brother and sister, about the dancing, it feels like a flirt. And then they repeat that we're not so much brother and sister line at the end. And you do get to see Mr. Knightley's jealousy. He wants to kill Frank.
Yeah.
When Frank sings with Emma and at the ball when they dance. he does the badly done indeed really well. His is the one that stands out to me through all of the adaptations.
I agree. I totally agree that him telling Emma off during the scene, it just hits so hard.
And the way that it's directed, that she's looking away and it's not till he moves that she turns around in the carriage and you see that she's crying.
Yeah. Really
beautifully done.
Yeah. Speaking of choices in this film, can we talk about the dream sequences? This film, when the first dream sequence occurred, I honestly, I was shook. I cackled and I was like, what the hell is happening right now? Because it basically Emma imagining things in her mind. And the first dream sequence is about Harriet and Mr. Elton falling in love. It's actually got the characters being like, oh, Emma, thank you so much for bringing us together. We can never repay you enough for the rest of our lives. I was like, if anyone was like new to Emma, that scene immediately, I'd be like, is this happening? Before it cuts back to her and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that's a dream sequence. The fact that it continues with pretty much every other romantic scene, because there's a dream sequence with, I think it's with just about Frank in the painting when he kind of comes to life.
That was really beautiful, but also how great is the painting of him?
It's a really good painting of the actor who plays Frank Churchill.
Yeah.
Like,
and she
looks accurate.
I love that to indulge her fantasy, she goes back to look at the painting after everyone's left.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just like,
and her imagining
thinking about
weddings.
It.
See, I think her first fantasy is actually the light in the church landing on Harriet, and that's how she picks Harriet for Mr. Elton. There's got to be some sort of way to convey what's going on in Emma's mind and all the things that she's planning or worried about, and her worried about Mr. Knightley marrying Jane Fairfax. What about little Henry?
Yeah. What I love, though, about the dream sequences was that they went hard on these dream sequences. The dream sequence where it's talking about Jane and Mr. Dixon potentially being in love, and it's him saving her when she goes overboard on the ship. But it has them on a proper ship, and like it's raining and there's water everywhere, and it's her crying and him saving her, and it's the most romantic scene from a movie on a boat that I've ever seen, but it's a dream sequence in Emma instead.
Emma does not do things by halves.
She doesn't do things by halves, but I love that they took that direction with this. Where like she's having a dream sequence, her imagination is going for it, and so are we. I did think the funniest one to me though was actually the nightmare sequence of like Mr. Knightley marrying. Is he marrying Jane or marrying Harriet in that nightmare sequence? So she's in the church and she's just like with the Henry.
I think that what about Henry was Jane, but then more of a nightmare one is Harriet.
And that is the one in the church, right? Where they're getting married. So. There's so many, I get them confused.
Emma has a lot of fantasies.
She has a lot of fantasies. She can picture everything. Can we just talk about how stunning the actress who plays Jane is? She was just so beautiful. I actually feel like, again, though, I feel like they make Jane very beautiful in Emma adaptations, because I feel the same way when watching the Gwyneth Paltrow, was that the actress who played Jane
is
stunning,
gorgeous and elegant.
Harriet was just kind of boring.
There are a couple of changes that actually make the story different. Mrs. Goddard wants Harriet away from the Martins, and she implies that Harriet is someone's natural daughter. I think that makes a big difference for the way that Emma behaves. Emma actually goes to check on Jane at Donwell, and Jane says she's going home, as opposed to Jane coming to find her. It's
like a difference in Emma's feelings towards Jane. It changes that context, I think.
Yeah, and one thing that they added, which I really liked, was Harriet saying, I believe I've been in love with Robert all the time. I like that they added that, so it doesn't seem like he's the consolation prize, that she's like, no, this was the guy all the time.
Yeah.
And they did not have the riddle book.
No, I did notice that they took out the riddle book completely, but the 2020 didn't have the riddle book in it, did it? No, they made a passing thing about riddles, I think, but they don't actually have it in there.
Whereas the other 96 is squeezed in just about everything.
Obviously, they've cut a lot little bits for time. I noticed that actually by the point of the carriage scene where Elton is, and Emma's like, oh my God, but he's in love with Harriet. Harry and Elton have only spoken once.
Oh.
I went back and I was like, did I miss another one? No, they've actually only spoken to each other once by this point. Because they don't even really talk to each other during the painting.
I think this is the point, that it is all in Emma's head, that there was never anything between them. The hilarity, though, of when she first introduced them, and Mr. Elton's getting something for Harriet. He says, "Allow me." He takes the plate from the servant to give it to Harriet.
Yeah.
You're not really doing anything, man.
In terms of just a small change, at the very beginning when the Westons are getting married, gives them first names. And I was thinking, we don't know what their first names are, do we?
Miss Taylor's Anna.
Anna Taylor.
That's the name of her daughter. I don't think Mr. Weston has a first name.
Yeah, because they call him William Francis Weston. That was the first time my brain went, hang on a second, has this been his name the whole time and I just didn't know, or if they just made it up? I feel like despite the shorter time frame, everyone was still quite well fleshed out. They did add that part about Mrs. Goddard. Mr. Perry is a character where they have him over for tea. And there's still a lot of small filler conversation in it, despite the cutting of things to make time. So I feel like they still kind of made the characters feel real.
There's some really great lines. Mr. Woodhouse's 6 good hens and now Miss Taylor. Miss Bates, Jane will be beside herself with joy. And Emma's, I doubt it.
My favourite line delivery is when they talk about why Frank is gone. And it's just the very loud, to get a haircut.
Oh, because Mr. Knightley's so pissed about it.
He's so angry. And Mark Strong's delivery of that line was so funny that it was just, he was fuming.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I put off actual work to come and see this guy and he's just gone off to get a haircut? The hell? Yeah. This is the adaptation that has the creepy line, I remember holding you once, thus once upon a time, when Knightley is holding their niece, Emma. And then when he proposes, he says, I held you in my arms when you were 3 weeks old.
Yeah, I hated that.
No, not a fan. No. The ending felt like it dragged the whole harvest dance.
It really did.
But I did like that they had the 3 couples dancing that got together and no Eltons. And no
Eltons, thank God, because the Eltons were so horrified. Similar with the 2020, they keep in that Emma and Harriet say friends at the end, and Emma goes over and introduces herself to Mr. Martin and shakes his hand.
How stone-faced is he, though?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, all right.
All right. Mrs. Elton said something like, God, can't believe that this place is like this, and we don't really see them again after that.
Shows how much Mrs. Elton doesn't know.
Yeah. When Frank apologizes to Emma, sorry for leading you on, and he's discussing Jane, he talks so much about how smooth her skin is and how beautiful it is. And I'm like, is he going to skin her and wear it, or does he want to eat her? But it was a lot, and I was just like, what is going on here? And then you see the John Knightleys at the end. John Knightley has a larger role in this than his wife. He actually has a lot more talking lines. And we see him at the end with his wife. I didn't even remember she was in this because she barely appeared.
Although he tells Mr. Elton to get in the damn carriage when Mr. Elton's outside going on about how wonderful it is to go to a Christmas party. And he's like,
just get in.
Get in the damn carriage. Love. Mr. Elton doesn't appear as gross when he proposes, at least, but he appears eager as opposed to gross, and he does chase her around the carriage. There's quite a funny thing where they shift, and she does make him come back to say goodbye when he tries to storm out.
I didn't write exactly what scene this happened in, but I have written in my notes, Elton seems like he's going to orgasm from sitting next to Emma. The look on his face and the way he was talking as if it was the most sexual thing that's ever happened to him is being next to her. Ugh. I mean, he always gives me the ick, but...
Yeah, it's gross. I love that Mr. Knightley cuts him directly to go and dance with Harriet. Because Mr. Elton's like, la la la, I'm not dancing with Harriet. Goes to talk to Mr. Knightley. Mr. Knightley's just having none of it.
He's just like, bye, bitch.
Frank is really good. He's immediately a flirt. And he's the one that tells Emma that Mr. Elton is engaged.
Yes.
And when he's looking at the piano, you can kind of see the links. He's looking at her piano and then says, I have to go to London, after looking at Emma's piano.
Yeah.
And you can see him and Jane at the ball, really, really in love, the way that they're looking at each other. And then you see them arguing when she leaves Donwell.
Yeah.
And that scene, we do have the piano where they jump apart.
Yeah.
They've been up to something.
They really perfected Frank's dialogue on manipulating and avoid discussing Jane. Anytime someone asks him something that could allude to Jane, he does a really good job of changing the conversation or misdirecting. Obviously, they do still have the Mr. Dixon. I think the scene in this film that I found really difficult to watch, it wasn't actually the Box Hill scene this time. It was when they're making the word, like, anagrams.
I mean, that's also on Box Hill.
It's on Box Hill, but it's like, it's not the same moment. Normally the Box Hill, but that makes my heart stop is obviously the Miss Bates. But this time it was the spelling out Dixon with the letters and then giving it to Jane, and her face and then her having to be like, I didn't know we could use proper names. And I love Mr. Knightley in that scene, seeing the name spelled out and then calling Emma on it later, being like, why is that name funny?
The blunder about Perry and the letter game, all of those things happening on Box Hill at the same time really builds the tension between Frank and Jane. Like, you can actually see it so much more, and I thought that worked really well, having all those disagreements and misunderstandings at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then after that he basically fucks off and everything falls apart. And you remember how you were asking how are they getting up there and all the servants and stuff? We actually saw the servants holding the table and the crockery on the way up, and the men dropping chairs, and
we didn't just arrive here with a picnic set up. Like, this is happening. We're here and we've brought the whole entourage to sort it for us.
Well, because it's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Oh my God. I need someone to do that when I want to have a picnic.
That would be nice.
That would be the dream. I mean, it's very obvious the entire time we see Mrs. Elton, but I feel like in the Box Hill scene, what is going on with this accent that she's got? It was driving me nuts because the actress who plays her is British, but she sounded American sometimes, and she sounded Irish other times, and I thought she sounds like someone trying to be American, trying to be Irish. I found it so off-putting in every moment.
I mean, I only picked up the American, and I wondered whether that was intentional, that they were trying to make her, I hesitate to say trashy because we have people who are American that listen.
No, maybe it was a choice to try and make her seem like maybe she's trying to put on this accent to try and seem like she's like better and cooler or whatever. But it just felt so off-putting. It just didn't make any sense. It just felt weirdly shoehorned in there. Because then I went and found like a different role with that actress afterwards, and when she was Mrs. Hearst in 1995, and she just sounds English. I don't understand what the reasoning was to give Mrs. Elton this accent.
Maybe they wanted her to think she was being worldly.
I do think she acts as a snob, like not even a snobbier version, but like a more, oh God, I don't even know what the word I'm trying to think of is for Mrs. Elton in this, but she seems stricter and more offended by everything going on. When Frank at Box Hill is like, oh, Miss Woodhouse demands 2 amusing things or 3 things very dull. And she's just like, I've never been ordered before to do something, especially not by an unmarried woman. And maybe it's more of like she felt older than I feel like Mrs. Elton feels sometimes.
Yes, agree.
She may be my least favourite version of Mrs. Elton. I'm sorry to the actress, she annoyed me. But
she's supposed to be annoying.
I know, but sometimes they annoy you and you go, oh, they did an amazing job. And this time she annoyed me. Oh, and she says she is the scourge of puppies? She said that at one point, and I went, what the fuck?
Okay, she's not talking about dogs.
What is she talking about then?
I have vague ideas, but I don't know what it actually means. Okay. Young, inexperienced, and sometimes foolish young men are often...
That didn't translate in the scene.
Used to dismiss the immature behaviour of young men.
That makes the line even stranger, but, well, not strange for this version of Mrs. Elton, her being the scourge of young men. I'm like, yeah, accurate. But I feel like if you were in the 2020, she was probably quite likes attention from the young men, I think, that Mrs. Elton.
I wonder if that's supposed to be the joke, that Mrs. Elton would, of course, want attention from young men, but pretend that she doesn't, and maybe it's that these young men can actually see through her.
Yeah, that makes sense. They do keep in the thing that we found annoying in the 2020 Emma, where Mr. Elton keeps calling her Augusta and company. A few other characters did that as well. There was a point when I think Mr. Weston refers to his wife as Anna. And I was just like, what is with all these first names? This is inappropriate for the company, guys. Back to that final scene where they're all dancing together. The way that they have it all laid out, it felt like a roll call. Like at the end of a play where everybody comes out and you applaud for them. Mm-hmm. Like it felt like that when they're all dancing and you've got the whole cast just like there, center stage.
And this couple, bow. And this couple bow. Yeah.
Another thing just about this adaptation, though, is obviously because it was for TV, it cuts weirdly at points, but that's because that's when they would have had ad breaks.
Yeah.
And it's just so obvious. This is definitely from TV in the 90s. From how they've edited it, it doesn't hold up as a movie on its own. It's never going to be the movie that you have on DVD. It is always going to be a TV movie, just because of little bits like that.
And that is our discussion of the 1996 ITV Emma with Kate Beckinsale. I've been Frances Duncan. This has been Rachel Purwell.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We wish you happy watching.